Welcome back, friends. So you've chosen the red pill. This video will be very different from the other ones. I'm going to talk about some unavoidable and deeply troubling trends that have a high chance of impacting your current job. Things are going to get a bit grim, but bear with me, there's good news at the end. Chances are you consider yourself middle class. 70% of us do. Well, right now, some of the smartest people in the world are trying to figure out how to replace you. And increasingly, that replacement will come in the form of a widget or a software program or a robot. An MIT report states that by 2030, between 20 and 40% of American jobs will be automated. If you make less than $40,000 a year, the chance that your job will be gone in that time frame is 83%. So what kind of jobs are in jeopardy? Security and administrative assistants, automation risk level, 96%. Retail sales, that's a really broad category with an automation risk level of 92%. Paralegals and legal assistants have a 94% chance of having their jobs automated away. And it's not just low to mid-paid position. Compensation and benefit managers are doing great right now, making a median annual wage of over $116,000. But their chances of keeping that job long term are only 4%. Another high-paying job, administrative services managers. Good pay, but bad prospects. It's coming, but first, let's look at student debt. The average borrower owes over $28,000. With an average monthly student loan of $393, it will take that person over 21 years to pay off that loan. Oh, and this is nice. Student loans are not dischargeable in a bankruptcy. Bankruptcy? Who's talking about bankruptcy? Well, hopefully nobody. But consider this. The U.S. economy is in its 11th year of continuous growth. The last time the economy went that long without a significant pullback is, let's see, I've got the answer right here. Oh, here it is. Okay, the last time that happened was never. One thing that economists on the left, right, and center agree on is that there are four words that should never be uttered when it comes to economic predictions. The words, this time, it's different. Enough doom and gloom. According to the highly regarded U.S. News and World Report, the best job in America today is software developer. Best overall job in the U.S. economy. They include criteria like excellent pay. For example, the average JavaScript developer makes $106,000. If I offered that to any of the programmers that work for me, they'd laugh. They all make more than that. What else does programming offer? Low stress compared with other high-paying jobs. An excellent work-life balance. In fact, more and more, the trend is going towards allowing developers to work from their homes. And job prospects, high demand currently and good growth going forward. So right now, you might be thinking, maybe that's interesting, but how is it good news? You may have thought that programming is all about complex math and manipulating weird symbols, that you need a programming gene or be left-brained or something. In other words, programming just isn't for you. I want to tell you some good news, and I'm going to try to do it in a way that I hope doesn't offend you. You're wrong. Dead wrong. My journey to developer was a curious one. I started by studying theology in college, then worked as a woodworker for 12 years before trying my hand at programming. If someone needs complex math to do programming, that would certainly leave me aside. I was never particularly good at math in school, taking only the bare minimum of classes. If there is a programming gene, I'd say it's this, common sense. By now, hopefully you've watched the other videos and see that there's nothing particularly esoteric about programming. The idea that programming is for left-brained people, well, that whole notion that people are either left-brained or right-brained was debunked by brain science years ago. You do different things with different hemispheres. You read with your left brain and listen to music with your right brain. I'm betting you can do both. As for weird symbols, sure there are some, but as someone who's taught over 1,000 would-be programmers, the weird symbols are only weird initially. Very quickly you get used to them. When you first did math, you had to learn that a cross-shaped symbol meant add. Do you still struggle with that today? Let me tell you about three students of mine, Wes, Aaron, and Danielle. Wes worked as an usher at an AMC theater. He had 1 year of college and decided it just wasn't for him. So he asked me to help him. I told him He'd have to put in the hours to study. He did. Today he works as a web developer and is paid well in excess of $100,000. When I met Aaron, he was a pizza delivery guy. He'd graduated college, but he had no idea what he wanted to do, and he asked me to help him. I told Aaron he'd have to put in the hours to study. He did. Today he works as a back-end developer and is paid well in excess of $100,000. The most recent student is Danielle. She's in her 30s. She'd been a teacher and was burned out. She'd taken some classes on HTML and CSS, but wasn't a programmer. I saw the potential in her and asked her if she'd like to try programming. She was hesitant, but said yes. I told her she'd have to put in the hours to study, and she did. Today, she's just gotten a job as a junior developer making $60,000. Within 2 years, she'll be at $100,000. When I said you're wrong about not being able to be a programmer, I confess I was being dramatic, but consider this. If you have no experience with programming, the biggest influence in answering that question is going to be your fear. It's natural. But I have a great deal of experience with people who are at exactly the point you are now. I know the fear that you won't be able to make it. I can 99% guarantee that you can if you'll do one thing. Put in the required hours to study. So how many hours? Well, assuming you have a family and a day job, if you can put in 12 hours a week on nights and weekends, you can be ready to apply for a job as a junior developer in less than a year. The way I look at it is this. A year is going to come and go. That's a given. The question is where you'll be in that time. The takeaways for this video? That's entirely up to you. But just know this, I'm cheering for you.